What's going on, people? Welcome back to Pick and Pop. This is episode 8. I'm here with a special guest, my boy Xavier. Hasn't been on Pick and Pop yet. It's been a long time coming. Been meaning to get him on here. It's another one of these guys that we have around that have a lot of basketball knowledge. So I'll quickly have him introduce himself. What's going on, brother?
What's up? I'm Xavier, and I'm excited to be here. My boys put on this awesome podcast. I'm excited to be a part of it.
At that, buddy. So we thank you. Last minute, kind of stepping in. Misha had something going on as per usual, so I don't want to kill him too much in the beginning, but Xavier was nice enough to step in, and we're gonna go over all the stuff that's been going on. Before we get into it, since me and Xavier we both watched the UFC, quick shout out to Amanda Nunez on cutting that career. That was crazy, dog. She really called it quits right after a W. That's really how you do it. What you thought
The
about that?
goat and the the goat.
The
Uh,
goat,
fe- fe- Female goat.
the female
Who
goat.
who comes close to the resume? Who comes close to what she's
Nobody.
done in the octagon? Who who can you say in the near future? Like who can you even think of in the near future that even has a possibility to retire as double champ?
Nah,
She,
there's
I
nobody.
like I think we've seen the first and only person to retire as double champion
Yeah,
ever,
yeah.
and to leave as double champ, like how much, like
Did you
that's
like
like
what she did with people were saying like why didn't she go for one more win to pass Anderson, and she just kind of called it to where
eh,
they're just tied.
see, because now when you're asking her for one more win, now you're asking her to rematch someone that she's already beat. She's cleared the whole division.
Yeah, that is true.
What did you
She
want from
beat
her? You know?
everybody. She
Yeah,
beat
like now
everybody
you're just asking her to just be like, all right, go ahead and go into a training camp and fight someone you already did, you know?
for a low record. Yeah,
Like, and to Amanda Nunes at this point in her career, she doesn't need that.
exactly.
She just doesn't need that.
That's true.
She's the she's the go, and wish her nothing but the best.
Yeah. So that was dope. That was dope to see. Also, shout out Charles Oliveira. That was a monster W. I know we're a basketball podcast, but we're teasing going into some other stuff. But let's get back to the NBA. Let's just kick it right off with the what did you think about Game 4? What did you like? And how do you feel about this series now going into Game 5?
How, answer that last question first. What do I feel about the series? If we're being honest, it's pretty much over. Like if we're being the way the fourth quarter unraveled for the Heat
Yeah.
and for them not it just looked like they finally took a blow that they couldn't come back from, and that's been the opposite of the Heat this entire postseason.
Yeah.
They've been taking blows, coming right back at them
Right.
at the opposing team, and that's how they've been getting their wins from by not letting games get away from them, by not letting teams outshoot them,
Absolutely.
literally. And then the way I can explain this the whole Celtics series was anytime the Celtics hit a three, Miami was like, okay, we have to hit a three. Like
Right.
there was no letting the game get away from Miami.
Right. Right.
And this fourth quarter alone, last game, the game started getting away from them.
Yeah.
The game it just it started moving too fast for Miami. They weren't able to keep up, and with Joker off the floor, and you still can't defend pick and rolls without him involved.
Yeah.
And then what really scared me was when Denver would Miami would finally get a stop in the half court, a stop as in they don't let their they just have good fast break transition defense and they
Yeah.
stop them in the half court. And then when Denver would actually end up scoring when they were still stuck in the half court, when Bruce Brown would just set up his own shot, a mid range or a three, when Aaron Gordon would just be caught cutting to the basket, like they were just getting caught in so many different ways. Even when they would get those stops, Denver was still coming at them and they just couldn't defend it. And that that's just all she wrote for the series.
Yeah.
Just that fourth quarter alone right there, and how Miami just wasn't able to keep up with them. It just looks like Denver's just getting too tough for Miami at this point.
Yeah.
They're weighing on them.
I think you made a good point. kind of with the way that Miami was responding to runs. But I think they ran into a team that also responds to runs and probably even at a better clip. What impressed me about Game 4 was the ball movement. Joker finished with 4 assists, which is a very, very low assist day for Jokic. Jamal had 12. So, he's not even focused on scoring because he's got his other guys running. I mean, Bruce Brown finished with 21. Jamal had 15. Aaron Gordon popped off for 27. Everything was cuts, strong finishes to the basket, dunks, alley oops. He was just playing uber aggressive. And you could just see that from top to bottom. Uh, I mean, they're just a team that's ready to be crowned to be the NBA champions. That for me, that felt like a statement game. Like we talked about it off camera, but the Bruce Brown takeover, the way that Aaron Gordon was playing, I mean, that was just unbelievable. That was the best game that he's had, and just knowing that Jokic and Jamal, to be honest, on offense they were resting. So going into this game 5, I genuinely think they're gonna close it out, and we're gonna see the champion. Um, So yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about that. This is one of Jokic's weaker games, which is crazy to say at 23, 12, and 4. Um, I think they're just ready to be crowned. Miami looks like they hit their ceiling. This as far as they were gonna go. We knew that the series, Miami's not just gonna lay down. But Denver just looks like the better team. Even when they were tied or Miami had the lead a few times. I never felt that Miami was in control of the game at all. And you could just see the chemistry from the Denver side. I don't want to go too
Mhm.
much into Game 4 just because, it was. I just felt like it was a clinic in the second half of the game. So let's talk a little bit about the unsung heroes for Denver, the guys that aren't getting the shine that they should because of Jokic and because Jamal Murray can just ignite and go ballistic. Um, Caldwell Pope had a little bit of a struggle of a game, but who do you think have been the unsung heroes besides like the obvious, uh, you know, obvious guys?
Well, if obviously you take those two out, Joker, Jamal Murray, what are the Denver Nuggets? And throughout these 4 games in particular, and this is going to be a disrespectful statement to him because he's been playing great this entire postseason.
Yeah,
But throughout these 4 games of this finals, Aaron Gordon has been nothing but there for his team whenever they needed him, wherever they needed him.
yeah,
He's there and hit, and he has like like I said, like my statements right now are gonna sound like they're disrespecting, but they're not. He's just such a great player. He's done he's not done anything spectacular. He's
all the
just
dirty
doing
work.
everything. He's just doing everything that his team needs him to do, and he's
Exactly.
doing it amazingly.
Yeah,
He's doing it perfect. Like there's nothing that he's doing right now that isn't helping the Denver
yeah,
Nuggets. There's nothing that he's doing that's that's hurting the Denver Nuggets. Every single movement on the court for him, every single possession that he's playing is helping the Denver Nuggets in some type of way.
yeah,
And it just it's been showing throughout this entire series. This man has shot 42 shots in 4 games. And yeah, that's a pretty good clip when you're a starting player. He's made 28 of them. 28 for 42 in this series so
yeah.
far on shots. And that just shows you like he's not out here chucking up shots whenever he wants. He's
Nah,
taking good, smart shots and he's being efficient. He's
right.
not like he's just being and what more can you ask from a guy? He's being efficient. He's 5 for 7 on threes,
Yep,
and you've been watching the series as well as anyone else. All the threes that he's taken have
yeah,
not been bad shots, have been good shots. I've never seen a three from him in this finals that I thought was a bad shot,
yeah,
and everything that he's been doing for his team, just defensively, the way he moves in the fast break, he has been. This is going to sound like so nitpicky, but the way he's been filling up the floor in transition has been beautiful for his
yep,
team, with making space for his team. Like just filling up the floor on transition baskets have been Aaron Gordon's specialty.
yeah,
Just the way he spaces the floor, gets the ball, And not even the way he's been finishing at the rim, but his extra passes and fast break have been
Hmm.
beautiful for Denver. They're going on 3-on-2, 2-on-1 fast breaks, and Aaron Gordon's hitting the extra pass. Like there's no way you're stopping that.
Right.
He's always moving without the ball, even in a half court setting. He's never standing still. He's always helping, setting screens, cutting to the basket. You saw his beautiful cuts last night
Yeah.
alone, and that's when everyone's sleeping and he's always moving. He's always moving. If you're just watching him, he's always moving, and he's just been putting up great numbers for someone that's not the star of the show. Like you said, he's just putting up great numbers, playing great defensively as well for the team, and just doing everything that they need from him. Like he's not doing anything more than is asked of him,
Uh
but
huh.
he's doing everything that is asked of him perfectly.
Yeah. There's not the real point that obviously you mentioned everything. Partially the reason why he's so good at filling those lanes is because he's a lob threat, and you have so many good playmakers on the team. But he's guarded the best player pretty much in every series, the best wing player on every series. So you really just think about the start, him playing kind of sparingly on Anthony Edwards at times, and even switching on a Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, Aaron Gordon's probably the strongest player on the team. We're talking about straight brute strength. He's huge. Aaron Gordon got so much
Oh yeah,
bigger. He's massive. Yeah, and that was able to kind of throw LeBron off a bit. Just having that power down low, he really wasn't moving him, and just Aaron Gordon's been an absolute nightmare for everybody on the defensive end. I think that's really where we have to emphasize. But just knowing he can go off for 27 like he did, I mean that's just huge. Bruce Brown, I hate that the Nets didn't even offer him a contract. That's still one of the most unfortunate things ever. We would need a wing like that, so we got just a little lesser version in Royce O'Neal. Even though I love Royce, but just Bruce Brown is just he's just better.
Bruce Brown.
Defensively, he's quick, he's scrappy. You said, what are they without Jokic and Jamal? They're just a scrappy defensive team that plays hard, doesn't take possessions off. Uh, you know, um, Uncle Green, Christian Brown, these guys come in, they're just bodies, they're constantly moving. They're really all just focused in on the goal, which is the championship. No, you don't see selfishness out there. Everybody's happy for each other. Reggie Jackson hasn't played a minute in these finals, I don't think, and you see him
Nah,
ecstatic on this
it's not.
bench. You know what I'm saying? So,
That that really points to the team culture as
yeah,
well.
they just look like I said before, they're ready. But guys like KCP can be streaky sometimes, but he's always been on teams where the leaders will tell him like just stay ready, and even his presence out there, just that gravity, like you have to stick to him because KCP hits one or two, and it could be one of those 6-3 nights, 7-3 nights for him. He could easily have a 30 bomb. And Jamal, quiet game on the offensive end, but we talked about it off camera. But the distribution, it's been
I was
unbelievable
like that. Like that's the disrespectful thing to say
in
when you
terms of
can't say
scoring. In
offensive
terms of
end.
scoring, in
Hey,
terms of scoring,
scoring,
in terms of
not
scoring.
offensive end.
12 assists. I mean Jamal, he's doing everything out there that he needs to do, and it's been a pleasure to watch kind of the way that they started dissecting Miami. Um, I've been a little disappointed with Miami, especially guys like Strus and Gabe Vincent who played well in the Celtics series. But I mean, combining this is their total stat line for Strus and Vincent in 20 minutes each. 2 points, 1 assist, and 5 rebounds for the two of them. Kevin Love gave you 12 and 4 off of like a couple threes, and Bam obviously giving you 20 and 10. But you're just not getting anything from the rest of the players. They're really just getting outplayed by the Denver bench, and it's very very obvious.
Bam's presence has been such a hit or miss for the Heat on the defensive end. Like whether people want to admit it or not, whenever he got the switch on Jamal Murray, whether people want to admit it or not, locked Jamal Murray up.
Yep.
Jamal Murray was not getting anything off of Bam. For some, like Bam really had Jamal Murray's number. And the reason why Jamal Murray's only we're talking strictly this game,
Just
not
this
any
game, yeah.
other game, because Jamal Murray's been passing like this the entire series. But this particular game, he started passing the rock more because Bam forced the ball out of his hands. That's what started this whole thing, and he just had another one of those games. But Bam had that presence on Jamal Murray and then just continued to get bodied by
He
Joker
can't do nothing with
whenever,
Jokic.
wherever, whenever. It was just so frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
Just because like you saw him genuinely taking Jamal in a way, as best as he could, because you can't do everything. He was taking Jamal Murray out of the game in a certain way, in a certain facet of the game. He was taking him out of that game. He was
Yeah.
taking him out of that. And I don't know, for him to be doing so well in that aspect, and then for me just to see him trying his best with Joker, and then just those hook off the side, like
I think it's a lot of
it was just
energy to have to chase Jamal around like that, though. He moves a lot,
very, very,
you know?
very true. And for me to expect him to put up that kind of defensive effort the entire game is asking a
44
lot.
minutes.
Is asking a lot, but the way that he was sagging off a Joker even when he was defending him. Like, come on, like
He's
be
gonna chew
there
you
or
up.
don't.
He's gonna chew you
Be
up.
there or don't. And that's what kind of hurt. Like Bam, like I want to give him the credit because he really did take Jamal Murray out of a certain element of his game, but I don't know. Like you brought up a great point. Maybe that factored into him getting cooked.
100%.
But I still got to give him. I gotta still got to give him something for that
And
because
then
there
them
was
playing high minutes. I mean, Jimmy Butler and Bam both played 44 and 45 minutes respectively. I mean, if you're not getting anything from anybody else, they got killed on the boards. You know, like I mentioned Cody Zeller. What was that last episode or the episode before of him just kind of being a body to put on Jokic, and it's just there's no answer. They just don't have enough. They don't have big enough bodies. Honestly, I don't even think the league has enough outside of the stars. You know, Giannis, Joel. I can't even say Cat can bother Jokic because we saw that didn't happen. He played against Cat and Gobert and just tore them both apart. And it's just like I think Jokic is going to, which we're gonna get into in a little bit, but he's gonna cause kind of like the resurgence of in the draft. We're gonna see big guys being drafted a lot more because you need an answer for the top 5 players in the league, which are mostly big men. Um, you know, you need guys like Jamal Murray, but like you said, if you have your best defender so focused on Jamal, but you have 3 other guys going off for 20 points that aren't your stars, you know, you got to understand. You saw the thing about Jamal Murray. I think there was an executive that said Jamal Murray's the head of the snake. I completely disagree with that statement because the head of the snake is Jokic. If you don't have an answer for Jokic, you can't do anything. AD for the most part was healthy, and I mean we saw it. Like we saw it that was probably the best possible guy left in the playoffs that you could have thrown at Jokic, and Jokic still he just performed unbelievably, and it's just it's crazy to watch.
All right, so Andy, so with Denver's dominance throughout this finals run alone, the numbers that Joker and Murray are putting up,
Hmm.
being that the team is so young
Yeah,
throughout their star players at least,
yeah,
as of right now, do you see Denver going on to be one of the next NBA dynasties over the next couple of years?
yeah. I think they can. If we're talking about the West, we're gonna have to see how Golden State retools. Because the one thing that we know is that Golden State has a puncher's chance every single season. Because of that man, Steph Curry. Um, I think Andrew Wiggins is gonna come back next season. He's gonna be a lot better than he was. Obviously, with what happened to him this season, it was, it is what it is. Not to get into it, but I think he's gonna come back and play better. Klay Thompson, I know they want to be loyal to the guys, but Klay Thompson can't be your starting shooting guard anymore. So just kind of making movements. Maybe they shoot it all and get like a Pascal Siakam and just add another guy, like just more talent. I think you got to figure out the Jordan Poole situation. When it comes to the Lakers, I mean, we're gonna get into it a little later. They can make some movements if they keep the right core and the right guys together. They could be a threat, but for Denver, I don't know. Can Kyrie move the needle in the West? Will Phoenix retool and be a problem for them? The biggest answer is who's going to. The Lakers are the only people who have a guy who can bother Jokic, but in the moments where that guy needs a rest in terms of AD, who's going to be the guy that comes off the bench to do your Dwight Howard and your JaVale McGee kind of dirty work to bully Jokic as much as possible, which is getting harder and harder because he's getting better and better. So with that, Jamal Murray, I mean, he might be the best tough shot maker in the league, maybe outside of Kyrie. The shots he makes are just they deflate arenas. They take the breath out of arena. Jokic too with his threes, but really just Jamal when it leaves his hands, you just kind of think it's going in. Guys like Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, even though he's in his prime, I think they have enough to where these guys want to play with each other. I could see them having another run actually next year, probably for like a back to back. I could see them. Will they become like a dynasty? I mean, that was going on this year. Uh, when they asked like Isaiah Thomas was the Pistons a dynasty. So if we're considering a dynasty, 3 championships, can they win three? I think it would take them 5 years, 4 or 5 years to win three. Going back to back is going to be a little
Yeah,
challenge, but
we're asking, can they win 3 and 5?
can they win 3 and 5? I think they can win 3 and 5. I could even see them like maybe leap this year, have like a tough Western Conference loss in year three, and then the late win back to back in the last two, or something along those lines, or even win back to back now. They don't win until the fifth year, their third one. But I mean, it's just Jokic is on a mission right now, and I don't see him slowing down. Skill and athleticism, skill's always gonna have the longevity over the athleticism. And that man is just he's a tank. So will Denver become a dynasty? I definitely think that they can. Obviously, there's no way for us to tell now, but in the trajectory that it's heading, the way that they're playing, and teams like that with that kind of chemistry, they usually last a while. Especially when you have a coach that makes everybody on that team believe in themselves and bring the best out of those players. I don't see a lot of selfish personalities on that team.
Okay, so this is first very well put, because bringing up Michael Malone's going to be there for a very long time.
Yeah,
True, he's going to have that mentality running through them boys for a very long time.
absolutely.
The team is very well put together at the moment, and the way they're playing, it's hard to see them. It's hard to see them falling in the future,
Hmm.
just watching them play. But if I'm being very, very honest, and I look at the style of play of the Denver Nuggets, and I see how they're playing right now, and I see how they're winning right now. Not
Yeah.
only how they're playing, how they're getting wins, and seeing how could that progress in the future, and does that how does that play against other teams in the future that also get better and also adapt to their game and
Hmm.
also evolve to the Denver Nuggets game that will now have a whole season of footage on for other teams
Yeah.
that aren't just going to be clueless to this pick and roll game that they've been playing.
Yeah.
Because one major part that the Denver Nuggets have been utilizing like this season that teams have just they've just been so clueless to, that their pick and rolls they've been getting stretched out more than a regular pick and roll. They they're not going straight through pick and rolls. They're not going straight past the the screeners back.
Right.
They're stretching the play out more. Joker's getting more room out in the mid range area, paint area, to catch a pass and do what he does.
Yeah.
He's a master in that area. Hook, passing out to a corner three when they double him because they know how dangerous he is in that position.
Right.
Or with that being said, Jamal Murray as as the ball handler, he is now separating himself a little more from the screen setter. So now they're making it harder for people defending the pick and roll.
Mhm.
You actually have to make a choice. Are you gonna go run up with Jamal Murray, actually follow him? And now he might have the step on you to get past you
Yeah.
because your momentum is going forward, which he has been killing people with all season.
Yeah.
And then when you stay back, okay, you're giving Jamal Murray the three.
Mhm.
Kind of a difficult position to be in. And then I just brought it up a little bit with Joker. Joker, are you going to play back, try to defend this pass right
Yeah.
here, and now you're one on one with Joker in the paint, and now he's settled, or do you want to try to get ahead of the pick and roll, stop him up top, and that doesn't seem like a great idea anyway because of how this man handles the ball.
It's a big
Like, do you
gamble
really
for
want to be
sure.
like, do you want to be one on one on an island with Joker? Like, no, that doesn't
No.
even seem like a great idea anyway. It's just been it's just been tough to deal with this season, but I do feel like teams can will be able to adjust to it better because the pick and roll game has been demolishing everybody, and
Yeah.
it's been the pick and roll game. And I feel like teams adapting to that pick and roll game, they the Denver Nuggets wouldn't look as dominant. I'm not. They're obviously a great team. They're
We
obviously
saw.
going to be a great
I think I agree with you in the sense we saw it in the Lakers. Even when somebody would commit to the double team, I think it's better to commit to the double team with Jokic and get the ball out of his hands. I think I live with
yes,
somebody trying to just run out for the closeout on Jamal afterwards. But this thing of
any
just kind of
any
playing
day of
him
the
one
week.
on one, like you're not, it's just a bad look. But we saw the Lakers a lot commit to the double team or even AD picking him like man to man, but keeping him up as far as he can above the block instead of bringing him into the paint. Because that's where Jokic is great at passing from the paint, and that's where his shooters
Yep.
get his threes. But we saw, especially the Lakers when they brought out their zone. I see what you're saying because it was a similar thing that happened with Sacramento with their pick and roll because you had two left-hand players with Sabonis and Fox, and so they're on one side of the court together because regardless of which way you go, one of them is going to have their left hand open for a driver or Sabonis, but Golden State veteran presence picked up on that and they were able to do what they
There's
can. I
left
think
in that
the
spot.
opposite happened with the Lakers. You have young players. Guys like Vanderbilt bothered Jamal coming off of the pick, chasing him around. But then the problem was is that if you now you need to look for a switch so that Vando can go help with his size AD. But then if once you have the ball in Jokic's hands and he plants and he starts putting basically big pause, but he starts putting that ass on AD, he was moving him like a little boy. Jokic is pushing 300 pounds, bro.
That's what I
Jokic
was
is a
saying.
big
If
boy.
if you let him get set,
He's pushing
what is there
300.
like?
He's
He
pushing
lost
3.
already.
He's 280. He's pushing 3, bro. He's a big boy.
And teams defending that pick and roll this season has been frustrating to watch because it's like, oh my goodness, they're just
Yeah,
demolishing you with the shit that we learned in high school.
absolutely.
But I genuinely feel like that's something teams will be able to catch up with next year,
Okay.
and we're gonna see it. I don't think they're gonna be as dominant next year. I feel like you're gonna see them in way closer games. I
Yeah,
feel like you're gonna see them have to really play games out. You're gonna see them have to play a lot in the half court.
yeah.
Not gonna be able to run up and down like they have been on these teams anymore
No,
because
of course.
teams are scared of the pick and roll. Teams are gonna try to bait them to that pick and roll to see if their
Yeah, yeah.
adjustments can get them stops. But I feel like Denver's defense can really hurt them in the future. Like Denver, the way they switch off of screens for a team to be that's so smart in the pick and roll, you would think that they know how to defend it a
Yeah.
little better. That kind of gets me frustrated watching them. I'm like, you guys are so smart on a pick and roll, but like can't defend it as good as you should. I feel like on pick and rolls, Denver side, any team that can outshoot them, which they haven't ran into this postseason,
Yeah.
which no one
I
talks
was just
about.
gonna say
They
that
have not
they
ran
clog
into
the
a
paint a
team.
lot. A
They have
shooting
not
team is
ran
gonna
into a
blow them
team
out.
that can shoot the lights out. No one that they've met this postseason can shoot the lights out. Now think about if they run into, like you said, a Golden State team next season. Think about if they run into the Suns with a full season
Yep.
under their belt.
Yep.
The thing about if they run into the Celtics, who let's take away this last series, but a great 3-point shooting team. If they run into the Sixers with Harden back, one of the best, I think, the best 3-point shooting team. Teams like that aren't gonna miss these open looks, which the Denver Nuggets give out so many open looks, and no one brings that up because teams just aren't hitting them. They
Yeah.
give up so many open looks, and teams that can actually capitalize on that, and a big team. This is gonna sound it's gonna sound crazy because you know me personally, and I'm a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
But the Clippers next season are probably the biggest threat to the Nuggets, believe it
Absolutely.
or not. Just
They
the way they can shoot the
they
ball
don't
and
have
the way they
anybody
play their
that can
defense.
guard Kawhi. Like Aaron Gordon is gonna bother him, but Aaron Gordon's game, I feel like fits Kawhi's game the most because when you have a guy who's
Yes.
getting to his spots, now that's where Aaron Gordon has a problem. Yeah, Aaron Gordon can keep somebody off the block, bodying him up, or just kind of put his hands up and make it really hard for a guy like LeBron who's not trying to jump over you anymore. But Kawhi he's picking his spots. Once he gets to his spot, Kawhi's a mid-range demon, so I could definitely see that as well. With the Clippers, we can go to the point that I was gonna make. High-speed teams that get out and run. They're not gonna have guys that can stop Russell Westbrook on a fast break. They're not gonna have guys like a Memphis, let's say, a team that is just high pace, running with John Morant's either looking to punch that shit or to give it to somebody who's just filling in a lane. So I think Jokic is useless against those kind of teams. He can't run up the floor fast
Yep.
enough. So if you got KCP trying to
That's a good
chase
point.
three players down the lane, then I guess. But I definitely see what you're saying. It's gonna take them a little second to adjust. I think they're just hot at the right moment, but I can see
Yeah.
them continuing just because where my point is with them being a dynasty is the greatness of Joker, because I think Joker's one of those players who you can put anybody around him. Very LeBron-esque in that sense with his passing and his playmaking. Like you can put anybody around him, guys who are committed to their role, and they're gonna shine with Jokic. So let's get into at this moment, kind of, we're gonna see these finals kind of close out. We got the draft, see where Wemby. Well, he's gonna go to the Spurs. But we'll see how the rest of the draft goes with guys like Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson if they're really gonna be 2 and 3. Who knows? We've seen crazier stuff happen on draft day. Um, I'm excited for the draft. Nets got like the 21st and 23rd pick, so I got something to look forward to at least. More pieces to maybe trade for Dame. Get into that another time because that's the report going on right now. But anyways, what's the for you? Who is like the most exciting young team in the league right now? Either conference doesn't matter. Who do you think, with the right development, the right coaching, and with the help of their front offices, do something, make a run, do something?
Okay. We didn't talk about this before,
No.
but like might come as a shock. But I told you I talked about it before, but I didn't tell you the team. I told you I was real. This is one of the ones that I really had to think about because I
Hope
was
you
like,
don't
"Ooh,
take
this is a
mine.
good. This is a good." That's what I'm about to say. So we did not talk about it. So there's a chance, but
There's a chance.
I kinda, I don't know. I didn't take a conventional route. This is a team that I really think could make a run in their conference for
Okay.
sure. The way that these young players play, I think their play style is going to evolve beautifully, and they're going to be a dangerous team. But the Cleveland Cavaliers in the East,
Okay.
that that little core right there
Okay.
of let's just talk about defensively.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
yeah.
even going to bring up the man that dropped 70 points.
Okay.
We're not going to bring up the man that dropped 70 points. We're not going to bring up Darius Garland.
Donovan
We're
Mitchell's
going
a
to bring up
made man. Just talk about
we're
everybody
just
else.
we're just gonna talk about. I'm not even gonna bring up Darius Garland at the moment. We're just gonna talk about defensively. So you have Evan Mobley,
Top
Jared
three.
Allen,
Top three defensive player of the year finisher this year.
bro. Isaac Okoro picked him. I think he was. I'm probably gonna butcher this, but I think it was fifth overall. He was a very highly touted draft pick. He hasn't panned out offensively the way that the Cavs wanted him to,
Right.
but defensively amazing, along with the pair of Jared Allen, Evan Mobley.
Right, right.
That front court alone, it's hard to play against this team when you know every shot at the rim is going to be a hard one. It's going to be a
Yeah.
tough one. And for the next 5 6 years, you can it's going to be a tough score at the rim for against the Cavs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard offensive possession for you if your goal is to go to the rim
Right.
and get a bucket. It's just going to be a hard offensive possession for you. And not only that, they're young. They're super tall, super long. The
Yeah.
way that they the way that they can get rebounds, I don't I really wouldn't know this number. Definitely would need to get it, but Jared Allen and Evan Mobley each their double digit rebound games last year.
Yeah.
Insane for to have two players on your team that's capable of doing that
Yeah. Yeah.
is going to be great for the team. Their offensive rebounding amazing, especially Jared Allen's. Jared Allen's offensive rebound, you know better than anyone, man. He,
Yeah,
you know better
man.
than anyone.
Luckily
Jared
we
Allen's
luckily we
offense.
got his replacement, but Jared Allen is missed.
Yeah, Claxton is a beast.
Nick's
I can't lie.
Claxton's a beast. Yeah.
Yeah, Claxton's a beast. But Jared Allen, like, he's just great around the rim.
I
Evan
like
Mobley,
that.
great defensively, great around the rim.
Got Karras off the
And
bench.
Harris LeVert, you have Donovan Mitchell,
Of
Darius
course.
Garland,
Yep.
and like these offensive options that you have on the other end are going to be great. And Donovan Mitchell's like the oldest that I just named. And he's like 26.
I think they got
Like
good vets
sounds,
too, and Danny
that
Green,
sounds insane.
Ricky.
Danny, like they have great veteran guys as
Mhm.
you just pointed to that can really help these young guys flourish in the
Yeah.
next couple of years.
I could see that.
And these young guys, like let alone the guys that Cleveland just brought in the last couple of years, like Danny Green,
Yeah.
but these young guys, they look ready. They look like they're just a couple years away from really going off and showing what they're capable of. And
Of course.
they've all shown signs of what they're capable of, and that's what really makes this Cleveland Cavaliers team scary in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. So I like that with the Cavs. They had a little bit of noise behind them kind of last year, but obviously we saw the way that um, New York kind of handled their business. That was a great series to watch. Honestly, one of the best back and forth series. But for me, the most exciting young team. I know for most NBA fans, if they were told this, they would probably say a team like OKC, because you have guys like Shea, Josh Giddey, with Chet coming back. You got all the Williams. Um, so for me, I'm actually gonna go out on a limb because I'm very curious because Amani Williams going to Detroit. Detroit has so much talent that I feel like a guy like Monty Williams can bring out the talent in these guys. However, I do see the egos on the team. So if Monty Williams, a guy like Aiton is, I don't, we don't know these guys personally, but from what we saw on the court, a guy like Aiton seems like he's just a diva. Okay, these young guys, they got that swag, but all right. So let's just start from the top. Jaden Ivey is your starting point guard. You got Cade Cunningham, another point guard, but they kind of play combo. Killian Hayes, another guard. Cade Cunningham's a bigger guard. They have James Wiseman, who obviously the project didn't work in Golden State. You got Bojan Bogdanovic, a vet, great shooter. Jalen Duran, powerful, powerful power forward, big boy, great defensively. Isaiah Stewart, another big body. Marvin Bagley III is coming off the bench. My Duke boy. You got RJ Hampton. And outside of that, guys like Corey Joseph, Rodney Magruder, Hamdou Diallo, Alec Burks. So you got guys that have kind of been journeymen in the league, but I'm just talking really about that young core of Cunningham, Ivy, and Hayes. You got big man talent that hasn't been unlocked in James Wiseman and Marvin Bagley. I don't think we've seen what Marvin Bagley can be. He's 24. I feel like he's been in the league way longer than he has been, but he is 24 years old. James Wiseman, he's only 22. I'm older than James Wiseman. Like you feel what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of young guys on this team. Jalen
Think
Durant,
about if you said that sentence like 3, 4 years ago.
right,
You would have Marvin Bagley and James Wiseman on the same team.
right,
Everyone would be like, "What the
right, right,
fuck?"
right, right, right.
Now it's like,
Uh, they have so many top 10 picks on this roster, so it's like a guy like Monty Williams. If he's gonna be there for 6 years, there's no way these guys can't develop. Cade Cunningham, I pray he does not have this thing of just injuries every single year, and they're just gonna have to wait for him to come back because I think he's extremely talented. Killian Hayes is just raw. He is a raw piece of metal that needs to be polished, needs to be finished. He makes a lot of mistakes. I know he's a meme out there, but the kid is good. Killian Hayes is
he's
very good.
great.
Jaden Ivey, he's gonna be good. He's gonna be very good. Bojan, I think at some point is gonna be moved because there's plenty of teams in the league that need him. And I don't think he's gonna be able to wait for these guys to be unlocked. But that just him moving gives chances for some of the other rookies that they have, or like a Rodney Magruder coming in and just even though he's not a vet, he's like he's been in the league for a little while, but guys like that could just play their roles and let these young guys find their games. I think Monty Williams. I don't want to get too crazy into it because it's gonna be the biggest work in progress. But Monty Williams, I think, is a great coach. And if anybody can unlock those three guards, I think it's Monty Williams. And then the two big men need a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of work, but you got something there. You could run those five in a starting five if you really think about it. Marvin got a little bit of a midi. James Wiseman shoots threes. He's not great, but he definitely pulls them. He was pulling them at Golden State. Um, so I don't know. I think you have something there for sure. They could be a very high speed. It's just Detroit. I don't know, man. 17 wins. You know. We'll see. We'll see.
You can only go up from here.
Do they
So
have
that's just,
what pick do they have? They have the fifth pick. There's a lot of talent in this draft, man. Obviously, everyone's focused on the top three. Brandon Miller from Alabama. You got Scoot, and obviously Wemby, but there's a lot of guys in this draft, all the way down to like 22. You got a lot of like broad prospects that are being written about a lot. All their NBA comparisons are online. So you could just add more. I would say they need wings probably. They have a lot of guards. They'd probably need wings, and then they're two big men. They just have to get unlocked in a way. They have a power forward. They have two power forwards, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren. It's there. It's in the Eastern Conference. You can't tell me if these guys like Cade Cunningham they don't get unlocked. They could be the eighth seed in the Eastern Conference. You know what I'm
100%.
saying? They could be in ninth seed in
It
that
would be a
play-in
tough. It would
tournament.
be a tough playing game. It'll be a tough playing
Absolutely.
game.
So that's what I'm thinking. Obviously, I could go the OKC route, um, or even bro. I'm just gonna give an honorable mention. If Scoot goes to Portland, Scoot, Anthony Simons, and Sharp. That's a good little three to start building around post Dame. So that could bring a little bit
Yeah,
more
it's
excitement to Portland.
but that's the thing. You're not even thinking about what they're gonna get from Dame.
That is true. That is very true.
That's a crazy
That is
haul right
very,
there.
very, very true. Yep.
Plus, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, like they could get Scoop, but like um, I would not be mad if Brandon Miller
No,
ends up
Brandon
falling
Miller's
to the
a
Trailblazers.
dog. He's not being talked
Yeah,
enough
that would be
about
amazing,
enough, but I think those three are going to be
bro.
very, very good
But
NBA
like
players.
everyone talks about Victor's build and how it's amazing,
Mm.
but like Brandon Miller is a 6'9",
He's
200-pound
NBA ready.
unit.
Scoot's NBA ready too. He has a guard body already.
Yeah, he's I think he's like 6'2".
Yeah,
He's
he's
six
six
two, like
two. Yeah.
190.
Yep.
Like he's up there. What bro, I'm telling you, fucking these they're not kids, they're like my age. Exactly my age actually. But the Thompson brothers, the
Yeah,
twins,
the twins.
it's
They're nice.
yeah, bro. They're
They're gonna be
fucking
the
nice.
Morris twins on steroids, I think.
Yeah, I saw I didn't saw it live, but like I watched when they played their high school national game and they played against each other on opposite teams.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
that's dope as fuck.
But yeah, they're gonna be great to watch. All right, and you so with Chris Paul being waived by the Suns, which
Allegedly,
team?
that's still a little bit like I don't even. They're so weird with that. But let's just say he's available because we don't want to spread information because they went back on it right away. They're like, "Oh no, he's not actually waived. We're doing it's so weird." Let's just say he's
That would
available.
be the only way, but you're correct. He's not actually waived because sign and trades are still available,
Yeah,
and if he was waived, they wouldn't be. But I think he's gonna end up being waived.
yeah.
But all options available. Where do you see him going, and which team do you think needs him the most?
Um, originally, like when I first saw this question, I was thinking about Milwaukee. But then I realized that Drew Holiday just came off of an 8 assists per game year, and he has turned into a very legitimate point guard. And I'm taking Drew Holiday over the Marcus Smart season. I've said this multiple times on this podcast. Drew Holiday was a better defender than Marcus Smart that season. Um, but for me, which team needs Chris Paul the most? I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a need. Like it's like if this doesn't happen, they don't have any chance. But if you're losing D'Angelo Russell and you can get Chris Paul if he gets waived and now, the minimum you can pay Chris Paul I think is $15 million. So that's kind of in that range of I mean no, D'Lo's making 30. He's making $30 million. So if D'Lo's not going to be brought back, you fill a need in LA for a real point guard. We've seen LeBron start to kind of play off the ball a lot, and it was working when he had guys like Austin Reeves playing the point. But I wouldn't put Austin Reeves as your point guard. I would keep Austin Reeves as your shooting guard. So a guy like Chris Paul, with the chemistry that he has with LeBron, we saw how successful it was with Rondo. So now you have Chris Paul. If he stays healthy for a season and a playoff run, obviously load managing him because of his age and injury history, I genuinely think that he will fill in gaps that LA needs from an actual point guard. Somebody who could grab the ball from LeBron in these fourth quarters, calm everybody down because he's going to make the best basketball decision outside of what LeBron could do in that fourth quarter. So I think Chris Paul on LA makes a lot of sense if they're losing D'Angelo Russell. A lineup of Chris Paul, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, and Anthony Davis makes sense for the Lakers. We talked about it last episode. We're not too high on the Kyrie to the Lakers. Me and Mauricio, we're not high on it. It makes sense for the star power and for what the Lakers are, and we want stars. That's what LA wants. But if you want continuity, if you want quality over the quantity of stars, you keep guys like Reeves and Rui, who Rui's going to develop into a mid-range demon. He hasn't even scratched the surface of what his prime is going to be. Austin Reeves is glowing. Hopefully it's not just a fluke, and now that he's going to get paid, he continues what he's doing. I think he's a very smart player. All that IQ put on that team, you add arguably the greatest leader in NBA history. To me, it makes a lot of sense. Honorable mention for me, the Celtics. We talked about it last episode or the episode before with the way that they have to move Derek White and Marcus Smart in a way. You cannot have those two guys being your backcourt. They don't shoot well enough. They're not that good of orchestrators. Derek White's a good piece to have, but if we're talking about orchestrating, Malcolm Brogdon is a better orchestrator than a Derek White. So if you want to go that route, you got to keep Brogdon. Marcus Smart's not that good of a distributor. He's a decent shooter, not a great one. I feel like what they lack over there is leadership. I don't think JT's a leader. I don't think Jaylen Brown is a leader. I I don't know how much they respect Al Horford in that locker room, but I don't think Al Horford's their leader, and they're probably done with Al Horford this season. So Chris Paul over there would be my honorable mention. I think that would work as well if he wants to go to the East. Um, but for me, it's the Lakers.
I guess. Well, first of all, CP3 is my favorite player, and him going to the Lakers would do nothing but make me go out and buy a million jerseys. So I would be happy. I would be happy, bro. So like you're not saying nothing but like music to my ears
Yeah,
with that.
right, of course.
But like I just had like I had to be honest with myself when I saw this question, and I couldn't let my emotions take over because I
Yeah, of
would
course.
love to like to come to just fall into all this news that CP3 is gonna be a Laker,
Yeah,
and wouldn't could have happened before,
right.
might happen now,
Yep.
but it didn't happen. Got my heart broken once. Don't want to
Mhm.
go through that again. But it's gonna hurt a little bit because when I'm really put my brain into it and really tell you who I think he should go to, it hurts a little more. But I think he should go to LA, not the Lakers. And I feel like him with the Clippers again
Oh
is
man.
is exactly what they need at this point in time. His presence and his play style is exactly what the Clippers need at this point in time. And like it sounds crazy, like it really does for him to have all this noise to go to the Lakers and end up going to the Clippers. That would make the rivalry even crazier.
Yeah.
But very big possibility, a possibility that not enough people are talking about because
The
he is desperately
Clippers.
needed over there.
Homecoming.
He's desperately needed over there. And I'm not gonna lie, we're obviously talking about if he's on the court because if we're talking about injuries, and there's a possibility that fucking the Clippers get bit by the injury bug again, and
Ah,
none of them play.
that is a nuclear roster to have injury wise.
That yeah, you see, like when they're on the court, they're great, but that roster, oof, the injury bug will hit you quick, oof, for
I'm
everyone.
just thinking of the
But
fit, because obviously injuries, anybody can get
think
injured.
about it. Think about it.
But okay, so would Russell Westbrook be okay
Well,
with coming off the bench again?
bro? If you can't shoot. I'm not saying that he did it with the Clippers because people might be like,
Yeah, yeah,
"Yeah, with the Clippers," but you shoot 30%, bro. Like you don't get a say if he goes to the bench.
that is true. If Chris Paul's coming in, he's the starting point guard alongside
Like
Kawhi and then Paul George.
like once you shoot 30%, like you don't get a say anymore.
And
Like
then
play
I
better.
think Terrence Mann can probably start now. I think he's
Terrence
ready to
Mann will
start.
be starting. Terrence Mann should start.
They got
Terrence Mann is such a
damn.
bucket,
So
such a
if
gritty
honestly,
player.
if that Chris Paul stuff happens, the point that you made earlier about them being a problem for Denver, Zubac is a big boy as well. So if you get, I mean, they got Mason Plumlee, which is fine. Well, nah, that's solid. I actually Mason Plumlee, if you bring him in for sparing minutes against Denver, that could happen. But Zubac, I don't mind that lineup. Zubac is a skilled center, so yeah, I don't, yeah, I'm thinking about the wings. I mean, Paul George. Say what you want about Paul George. If he's healthy, Paul George is still
He's great.
a
He's
monster.
great.
Kawhi Leonard, top 10 player when he's healthy. When he's not, no, it is what it is. Come on, he's good for 30 every game. He's just not on the court, and it's just unfortunate. Um, yeah, that's a good call.
I
I could see that. No one's
really
talking
feel like
about
that's
that.
the team CP3 would thrive with the most. And I feel like that roster, not only that, I just feel like that roster would thrive the most with
Yeah,
CP3
that's a
there
good
as
call.
well.
I don't think anybody's talking about that. That's a pretty good call. Not gonna lie. All right. With all that being said, though, man, that was a pretty good episode, pretty good conversation. Made some pretty good points. So we're gonna see what happens with this series in this game 5. As NBA fans, obviously, we'd love for it to extend. We'd love for the storyline to get spicier. We'd love for Jimmy Butler to go for double 40s in these next 2 games. Push it to a game 7. Like that'd be sick. But with the way Denver's playing, who knows? Big shout out to Xavier for coming out last minute. There's definitely a fun episode, and we're definitely gonna have you around a lot more going into next season. But with the stuff we're doing in the off season, there's a lot of stuff to get planned. So just quickly, I'll give you the floor. anything you want to say, anything you got coming up, and yeah, just how you feel about NBA right now or this season, pick and pop,
Well,
everything.
first, just thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate being here. Love, love it. Love what y'all doing here. Want y'all to continue it. I'm glad that I could be a part of it. Help you out whenever you need to, man. I love,
Appreciate that, bro.
love doing it. I watch basketball, even I'm not supposed to talk about it. So whenever you give me that call, tell me hop on with y'all. I mean, I'll be ready, man.
Got you, dog.
But regardless, great podcast, great great time. Nothing better just sitting here talking about basketball. What else would you want
Absolutely.
to do? You know,
Hell yeah.
this is a fun time, man. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%, buddy. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out the TikTok. We're obviously popping out over there. Remember, we've had these last few videos kind of hit the 16,000, 14,000 views. Cracking, about to hit 250 followers over there on TikTok. So if you guys can continue showing love over there, I'm gonna be making a lot more shorts. And we're gonna dive deep in this off season, so it doesn't seem like we're getting stagnant. I'm gonna make sure to keep pumping out these videos every Sunday. We apologize for obviously about 2.5 weeks ago missing that last episode. We apologize for any inconsistencies, but we're absolutely trying our best. This is something that we want to do as to the best of our ability, and Pick and Pop's going to be around for a while. So we're really excited about the off season. We're really excited about season 3. Obviously, the NBA 2023-2024 season is going to be a big one. Got some maybe generational rookies coming in. We got some of our favorite players saying goodbye. Uh, Shout out to, we didn't even talk about Carmelo's retirement. Shout out to the legend, Carmelo Anthony,
No, you're
absolute
not.
monster. I promise we'll get into that next
Hello.
episode. But yeah, man. Up again to Xavier. Thank you for coming out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and that's gonna be it for both of us. So we'll see ya.
Thank you, man. Thank you.